Yay! It worked. So this is our last interview, and I'm super, super excited. I'm sure she's going to be hopping on here in just a second. And we are going to be talking about really running your business and some strategy and some nuts and bolts, which is so important. Jenna is, again, is authentic, is real. I've been watching her for years. We finally got to connect. She was watching me too, and I didn't know it, which was just beautiful. And I just find her real and authentic, and she's a strategist, and she's brilliant at creating abundance, because like you said, you can't have a business until you have a business. You can't have a business until you have a business. And you can't have a business if it's not working for you, right? If it's not supporting you and in making a living, if it's not bringing you abundance so you can hire people and do your thing, you just can't have in a business. And part of running a successful coaching business or a successful business is marketing and strategy. So as Jenna comes on, we're going to be talking more about that. She is absolutely brilliant. I'm so excited that she joined us and is wrapping up the show. I don't think I could have planned it more perfectly. In this summit, I hope that I've outlined, and other people have mentioned it, why the personal journey of knowing yourself and healing yourself is so important when stepping into your own. And that's what Amazing You is all about. Amazing You is a holistic journey in putting the pieces of you back together and knowing you and stepping into your authenticity. And learning how to coach somebody through the Amazing You system, you also go through the Amazing You system. So it's two birds with one stone, right? Instead of having to go through a system and learn how to coach and learn how to do the things and learn how to be an energy coach and a holistic coach and an NLP. And remember, I went through how you're going to be doing basic, not a deep dive, but basic levels of, as I invite her in. So basic levels of hypnotherapy, basic levels of nutrition, basic levels of all the things holistically, EFT, you're going to be certified in all these things. So you are going to walk through all of these journeys in the holistic coaching certification at your own university. One piece of running a business that we've all kind of touched on but haven't dove into is why Jenna's here. And this is Jenna figuring out. She's live. She doesn't even know it. But there you are. I'm still introducing you. I didn't know if you were going to come on the video or not, but I was like, it'll be fine. We're matching our colors.
I know. I noticed that.
It's so beautiful. So through this weekend, we've really, you're the final interview, and it's so perfect because through this weekend, we've talked about emotional intelligence in business. We've talked about what coaching is different. We've talked about the internal journey of it. We've talked about the energy of it. We've talked about manifesting and mindset around it. We've talked about all these pieces. And we've touched on marketing and authentic marketing. We've touched on your expertise, but we haven't dove into it because it's just been waiting for you. But without actually some strategy, without actually doing this, you don't have a freaking business, you guys. You just don't have a business. You might have a glorified hobby. You definitely have your 9-to-5 and you can't quit your job yet. I had a glorified hobby working this business from 2007 to 2020, in all honesty. I just did. Granted, I was going to school and I was raising my kids and I was doing this and I had 15 jobs and I was running this business and I had the 3 pieces of my business and my nonprofit started. It looked good, but I didn't, and I even thought I had strategy, and I probably still don't. I know you're still going to, once you get a hold of me, you're still going to overhaul everything. And I'm looking forward to it because once again, I dove my head into the next thing I thought that I needed to learn, right? I love learning, and I think that a lot of people get stuck at this, and maybe this is where we'll talk about, like, this is actually brilliant. But I'm going to introduce you first. Can I introduce you? Like, besides, like, you want to listen to her. Jenna Faith is a visibility and monetization strategy coach for online entrepreneurs and personal brands. And she does amazing at it. I've been watching her for years, like I said. She works with high-achieving women to remove their money and visibility blocks so they can earn more and make bigger impact. She is the creator of Mint for Millions, a company founded to help women across the world create wealth and freedom with their online businesses. And she's been doing this for over 8 years. She's been successful. She's had 3,000 paying clients. She's generated $3 million. She's been in over 200 publications. So just like everybody else that has been in this summit, like, she has made it. She's done it greatly, which is why I invited her on here to teach you, teach me, teach us. And with that, welcome.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. Yes, I'm ready to dive into it and answer all the questions and take it up a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's actually been over a decade now. So
yeah,
a long time, lots of ebbs and flows, lots of ups and downs, but we have to experience those in order
exactly.
to be successful. Yeah.
Yeah. So what brought you into, we always start with the same question, but what brought you into coaching in this arena? Like, when were you like, oh my gosh, I'm going to help women make money? Like,
Yeah.
what was that journey?
So I actually have a background, very strong background in marketing. So I've been doing marketing. That's what I've always been doing, getting paid in corporate, working regular 9 to 5 jobs. I was always in marketing. And I had my son when I was 30, and I got laid off from the job that I was at. And I was like so upset that I got laid off, went out,
Yeah.
got another job. Then, in marketing, within 8 months, I was laid off again. I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and allow someone to dictate when I have money, when I'm going to get a paycheck. My son was 2 at the time. I have to raise my son, family, all of that stuff. And I was like, I'm just going to go out and do it on my own, because
Yeah.
I was actually working for a very large corporation, casino, actually, doing all of their marketing. So I was like, if I could do that for them, why couldn't I just do it for my own small business? So that's kind of like
Yeah.
where the seed was planted. And, for me, it was a little bit more on the business marketing side. And then I found a couple people who were actually coaches. And I was like, ooh, what is this world? I never saw this before, so it was like
Yeah.
totally brand new to me. I was very much into the corporate and the, just the 9 to 5 type thing. And once I discovered it, I was like, nope, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I was supposed
Yeah.
to get laid off from those jobs so that I could find my own path. So I already had the background in business, marketing,
Yeah.
sales. I had, a few of my own like little.
So it was your life experiences. It was already your interest. It was your life experiences. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, my life experience came a little differently, but it was my life experience, and it was something I had to overcome, right?
Yeah.
I was like, my life won't be good until I overcome it, and then it turned into a career. So I think a lot of people listening are coming from that place, and heck yeah. So one thing that I forgot what I was just going to ask before when I was having my little epiphany there. It will come back. But one thing that really I love about you specifically when it comes to strategy that I've seen that just entices me is you keep your femininity,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And so often when we get with business coaches and people that are still in their femininity, they're like, oh, we'll leave it up to the universe. And there is strategy to that, actually. There is strategy to that. I've had to come to that because I work great that way. But there's no security. That's
Can't
what
rely
I'm
on
missing.
that. Yeah,
You
you
can't
can't
rely
rely
on
on
that.
that. You can't
I
rely
can't
on that.
make it happen,
Yeah.
right? I can pray about it and everything, but I can't go, I'm doing this, and this, and it's going to turn into this. And I've done 1,000 different programs where I've done somebody else's this, and this, and it didn't turn into that, which is one reason why I'm like, no, I'm waiting till I can have everything that I need to say, work with me privately. That's
Yeah.
just what my heart's calling me for, because I have so much, right? But if you're just starting off and you don't have so much, learning how to trust your heart and how to stay in, you don't have to lose yourself. You don't have to get hard to be in strategy. How do you not be hard and be in strategy? I've seen you do it. I watch you do it. I watch you closely. I had no clue that you were watching me. I was very touched when I found out you were watching me, but I've been watching you for a long time, you know, so how do you do that?
Me, it's kind of like the yin and the yang. It's like I've learned how to use certain parts, right? So it's like when I need to be more direct and analytical and do businessy stuff, I kind of know how to turn that on for that strategy piece. But then when it comes to connecting with my audience or building my brand and really wanting to like touch people, like that is the other piece, which is the femininity, the like just being myself, the authenticity, the integrity. Like, so it really is both. Like, I really don't feel like you can have one or the other and be successful. Like, you can be all strategy. I mean, if you could be all strategy, then everyone would be a millionaire, because the strategy is everywhere, all online, for free, available for you to get the exact steps, right, that someone is going to give you. But it takes that and the other piece, right? The internal pieces. So I'm always like, I kind of had this concept called the hustler and the vibe, because it was like, there were certain parts where like, you do have to be a hustler. Like, you know, I kind of like, you see people that are like anti-hustle. And I'm like, yeah, but you do have to hustle at some point, especially in the beginning. If you're just starting out, like, you're going to have to put in the work. Like, hate to break it to you, but I'll be the one to do it. You know, like a lot of people will say it's easy, it's flowy, like all of that stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you also have to do the work. You also have to show up and do it. So it really is the combination of both, and figuring out what I call like your flow. Like, Leisha, your flow is going to be so different than my flow. My flow is different than Kelly's flow. You know, like everybody has their own flow and everything works. So all the strategies that people are pushing out or that you're seeing on your newsfeed, they all work, but they work specifically for that person. So you have to find the one that
it's like a diet.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a diet. You gotta look at yourself. And then in my last interview, we were talking about how important it is for her anyway, when she separated her identity from the identity of her business.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen you go through a few evolutions of your business, including this next one from Meant for Millionaire. And on a personal note, I'm like, I just am curious. Like, I want to, how did that happen? How did you get back? Like, I have personal questions for you. But then, you had the hustle and the vibe right before that. And then, so, I mean, I've watched this evolution go. And how do you do that? How do you feel your business? How do you feel your business? I don't even know what I'm asking. I don't even know what I'm asking.
All right, so let me see. Maybe I can answer it for you.
Jenna, but I think I have a question there.
But I really feel that it is you really being in touch with yourself and understanding like what works for you. And it sounds so cheesy, but I tell people all the time, because I have it tattooed right here, and it says be you. It says be you. Yeah. And we've talked about that before, right? So it's like, how do you, especially with all of the noise and all of the stuff that's saying, you got to do it this way, you've got to do it that way, right? It's like, how do you retract from that and then really feel into yourself like, oh, this is actually what works for me. So like, for example, when I first started, I hated video. Like, you wouldn't even catch me doing an interview like this. I'd have my camera off, you know, or if I was like in group programs, my camera would be off. I was such a big introvert, very shy. And I kind of had to put on that, you know, persona of like, okay, I got to do this. If I want my business to work, which is a personal brand, which, you know, people are going to be connecting directly with me. It's not like I'm just selling like hot dogs or something, right? Like they're going to want to be able to trust me. Like they have to be able to see me, you know, but in the beginning it was tough for me. So I was like, what are the ways that I can get better at that? Right. So I started doing a podcast actually, because I was like, okay, maybe if I just started having the conversations with people, then I would feel more comfortable. So once
Yeah.
I did, I started talking to people like that, over the phone or podcast style. And then I was like, oh, I feel really comfortable asking questions. I feel really comfortable talking about my topic. Let's flick on the camera and see how I do. And my first few videos were horrible. Actually, my first probably couple hundred videos were terrible, but it's like you have to grow with your business. I feel like if your business doesn't grow, if your business doesn't evolve, it means you're not growing and evolving.
Yeah.
And that's an
I
indication because
agree.
we're all lifelong learners, right? We're all high achievers. We're into personal development. Personal development. We want to get better. We want to like heal ourselves. We want to do all of these things. So that means we're always growing. There's always an iteration of ourselves that is happening, and your business will grow with that. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have a fear of like looking like, oh, I'm kind of all over the place, or I haven't been doing the same exact thing for 10 years. And it's like, but if you were doing the same thing you were doing 10 years ago, I wouldn't want to hire you because I would think that you're not growing, that you're not
Yeah.
getting better, that you're not investing in yourself to do something different or to have an evolution of some type.
Thank you. This is a big evolution for me, this summit. It's a whole different um, group I'm talking
Yeah.
to, which is training coaches and therapists in the methodology. And I just focused on being that therapist for such a long time and coach that this is a whole new thing. It's like, it's scary again, right? It's like, but it's fresh and it's new and it's like, okay, we're going to
Exciting.
build
Yeah.
again. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do you find with some of your clients? First, who do you work with? Like who do you work with? I know who you
I
work
work with
with
mostly
me.
females. Yeah, mostly females. I'm not, opposed to working with men, but I do like working with women. Um, Millennial aged, so older, 40s, 50s, like this age where it's like, we're having our own kind of midlife identity thing going on, right?
Yep.
So people like that have an online business, service-based business, whether it be healer, therapist, hypnotherapist, coach, business coach. So anyone kind of in the same arena, but yeah, I like to work with people who are just really good at what they do and really care, but they're kind of like flying under the radar, because they might
Yeah.
not have that external like bravado that a lot of people have online, that it's hard to cut through that noise. And I always
It
say like,
is.
I have like the good people, the real people, the people that are operating in integrity, like those voices need to be louder. And that's what my mission is to help those people.
I love it. I love it. Um, and so when it comes to having a coaching business, I'm just gonna speak
Yeah.
directly to coaches, therapists, healers here and advocates too, and we're creating a brand. What are the biggest obstacles that you find they face when they're starting out?
Yeah. I mean, 95% of the time it is a mindset issue,
Okay.
AKA confidence, so not necessarily not feeling like they're not good enough, but maybe it's like a lot of comparison,
Mhm.
there's so many people
So
online,
much online, like, and as
any
soon as you
kind of,
talk about it, like I'm like talking about this, right? And now up on my news feed is like all these coaching certification programs, and part of
yeah,
it's like, what am I even doing? Like, that's so stupid. And the other
yeah.
part of me is like, well, you've been building this since 2016, Lisha. Like, you've done your work to build this and do this. Like, nope, like, right? But it's like,
It's easy
there's
to get discouraged. Yeah,
competition, so many options, right? And
yeah.
it's like, well, what's the point? But you have to remember that your phone listens to you guys. Like, I swear the phone listens to you.
It does. And it's
Facebook's
also
like,
law of
oh,
attraction, right? Law of attraction. We have that in our mind. So of course now that's what we're more aware of. But yeah, I think a lot of it is like just ego, honestly, right? Because
mm-hmm.
it's like, what if I look stupid? What if so and so does this? What if I fail? What if nobody buys for my launch? What if this? Like, so a lot of it is internal. What I typically see with people that are just starting is like, get over that hump, right? Get over that. And then everything else is going to become easy. But if
Yeah.
you're like kind of pushing against yourself, or you're even easily distracted, right? Or easily like, oh, shiny object, right? Like, oh, I want that thing. Oh, I want that thing. Like being able to just like stay grounded and reel
Mm-hmm.
that part of you in so that you can focus. Because the only way that you're going to get better, more confident, or anything like that is to just do it. Like I was
Yeah.
saying, like the video, and now I'm fine on video because I was
Yeah.
just like, okay, I just got to do it, right?
You're
I had
great on video. Yeah.
had to get over myself, had to get over it and just be like, okay, if I really want my business to work, if this
But
mission or
I
this vision
remember when
I
you were
have,
on video, and I do remember now that you say it, when you started doing video,
the
both
telescope
on both on Facebook and
or Periscope.
on Periscope. Yep. Like I remember that, and I remember you before that. It was because we did a training together. I think we did something together. I met you through something other than just
Yeah.
social media.
I think it might have been like B school or something like that.
And yeah, we were talking about that. It was probably B school. Um, so so that means I've been following you for years. I
That's a
mean, that
long
was
time
like
ago. Yeah.
2010, 2011. So when it comes to having a business, I think a lot of times have that hobby, right? We have the hobby, we're working our job, we're doing this, and we want to make money. So let's just dive right into it, like the real topic. We want to make money in our business, and making money doesn't always equate, for me at least, it didn't always equate to being consistent with videos, being consistent with
Mhm.
marketing, being consistent with things. I dumped thousands of dollars into marketing and hiring marketing firms and stuff to zeros. Um, and so what do you think? I know part of it's mindset, but like what are the nuts and bolts of it? Like what's the big thing that takes your clients from zero or 3K or 5K, barely making it, to I think a comfortable living, for me at least, most people in the United States, is like we need to make 10K just
Mhm.
to live. If
Yeah.
you're on your own,
Yeah.
you need, if you're married,
Absolutely.
you can have 5K, but if you
Yeah.
need 10K, and that's month to month, right? That's like, okay, here we go
Yeah.
right now with
Okay. Got to
rent and
start over
everything.
again. Got to start over
Hmm.
again at the beginning of the month. But yeah, I mean,
Yep.
in 2024, I think, it's definitely different than if you would have asked me this question even in 2020
Yeah.
or 2016, right? I think people now are craving connection, because we lost it for so long that people, there's obviously the people that are going to go out and try to cast a wide net. But I feel like to get to your first 10K, it's like help your first 10 people,
Yeah.
get your first 10 $1,000 clients, and then go on from there, right? But strategy is super important at this place as well, and being able to stick to a strategy, I think, is the button
It's
on
hard
that.
because there's so
Because
many.
yeah.
You were right. There's so many little like, oh, do it this way and do it this way,
Yeah,
and I did
and then
that for
you're
years.
halfway through seeing if something even works and you're switching it. So it's like
Hmm.
you don't even know what's actually working right now because you don't even give it time to work, So it's
Hmm.
like finding the strategy, and what I was saying earlier, like finding your flow. Like for me, I love writing. Writing is like my thing. I know I'm fantastic at writing. Where do I make my most money now? Is my email list,
Okay.
because I write to them 5 times a week. I'm not saying you have to write to your email list 5 times a week. You have to find the thing that you're just so in flow with that you come across confident. You are okay to make an offer to someone. So like, what is that for you? Is it video? Is it audio? Is it being in person? A lot of my clients, because they're a little bit older, they're so used to, grassroots, like get me on a stage, get me in a room full of people. Right. So it's like,
Hmm.
you got to find the thing that like for you is like, this is my wheelhouse. This is my thing. And then create your strategy around that.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
That way it's still your strategy. I'm not saying, Leisha, you must build an email list and email your list 5 times a week to make money. Like, I'm not going to tell you
Yeah.
that because that might
Well, it
not
worked.
be right. But you
It
can.
worked, but it
Yeah.
was a lot of work because I have dyslexia, and even though I write a ton, like it takes my editor and like everything. Because with dyslexia, you can write fine, but if you read it back, you're going to read through your mistakes. You don't see them, right?
Yeah.
And so I need my editor if I'm really, really writing. And it was great. It worked. I loved working with my editor. I learned a lot about editing. But it was a lot of emails that period of my life. And I love video, obviously. And I love TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok was definitely my
Yeah.
my
So you
shift.
found
And
your flow. And that's actually where I honestly started. I mean,
following me,
we were connected, but
yeah.
that's where I started really like paying
Yeah,
attention
because
to your
that's where
work.
I was
And
just like,
yeah.
Yes, and if
I was like,
Reels was
okay, yeah,
around, like Reels might have been doing it for me, right? But that's where I flow on camera. Like
yeah.
this is
So
where
that's
I
what,
am
yeah.
comfortable.
So
Yeah,
those of you
and
that are
on stage.
listening, that's what it is. Like, what is the thing that is going to allow you to create that connection with your audience in the most seamless way? Path of least resistance, right? So if you're
Yeah.
like, you know what, I'm not there with video yet, then don't go on TikTok thinking that that's you're going to be your strategy because that's what works for Alicia. Like, it's
Right.
you got to find the thing that works for you. And like I said, really focusing in on one specific strategy, I would say at least for 60 to 90 days, consistent,
Okay.
see how it works for you. If you're
Mhm.
like, okay, I gave it a fair shot, not really my thing, I'm going to try something else, cool. Or if you've been consistent for the 90 days and you're like, wow, this is really working, people are reaching out, I'm getting the momentum, like keep going, right? So
Yeah.
I think this is one of the things that I notice a lot of people don't do, and I think it's a big mistake in business, is that they don't reflect or audit what's actually working and what's not. And so that's why
Mhm.
it kind of feels like a crapshoot, or it feels like some people say like throwing spaghetti against the wall, because it's like you don't even know what's working, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you have to be consistent with something for a period of time and then also reflect, like, okay, did that actually work? Like, how many people, how many new connections did I make on my platforms? Has anybody reached out to me in the DMs? You know, did I book any clients? Money obviously is also an indicator of, yes, I'm doing pretty good, right?
Mhm.
So taking that time to really evaluate not only what's wrong, but what's going right, and then being
Yeah.
able to, pour gasoline on that fire. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm all in on TikTok. Because I know every
Yeah.
time, like I have one girlfriend and she swears, she's like, every time I do a live stream, I get a client. And she's been saying this for years. And she'll go off and she'll try some other new strategy or some other new thing. And then she always comes back to, I did a live stream today and I have 2 discovery calls booked. I did a
Yeah.
live stream and I booked a client. So it's like she found her thing that actually worked. Like, stick with it now. Now go live every day if that's your thing. I would
Yeah.
never go live every day because that's
I
not
did
my thing, right?
I did for a complete year,
Yeah.
and it was a life-changing year. I got completely drained. I mean, granted my topic, but I got completely drained, and now it's like Mondays and Fridays and
Yeah.
little bits here. When I don't have a full client roster, I go live. And yeah, I get every time I get people, even if 5, 10 people are on there, right? I'm like, just pray for the proper 5, 10 people. But I'm super empathic too, so I think partly like I'll notice that my views go down when I'm in like a cancer treatment or recovering from surgery or something, which has been 3 years for me.
Yeah.
And I think it's just universe, God going, this is how much energy you can handle right now. Don't worry, you're taken care of. And I always am. But yeah, it's definitely video for me. For other people, it's retreats, right? The retreats sign up really fast. There's so many different ways to do that. So what would you say would be so what are the 3 areas of marketing? This is really statistic, like this is really like, but when it comes to creating a brand and marketing yourself, like what is strategy about? Like what do you even look at?
What do you even look at?
Yeah, I don't
An
think
interesting
people even
question.
know what to
But
look
I
at.
would
They
say,
think of, oh, colors, right? They think of
okay.
colors, or we think of email lists or something, but I don't have an email list. I'd love to write, but I don't have an
Yeah.
email list, right? So there's all these things that get in the way. Like what's really important to make money in a business? Because I want to support people, like
Yeah.
not only doing their passion, but their passion supporting them living their thriving life.
Have something good to sell, have something of value to sell, and don't be afraid
Mm-hmm.
to sell it. Like, it really is that simple. The way that everything is set up online right now, like you have the platform, the people are there, people are spending money. A lot of new,
Yeah.
especially new people, including me, when I first started, like I was scared of rejection. So I didn't want to make the offers. I didn't want to put the calls to action out there. I wanted to give value and be like, oh, this is a very nicely beautiful, inspirational email with no call to action, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
getting on a call with someone and then not pitching my offer at the end because I didn't want to, be rejected
Be
or what.
pushy or be
Yeah.
rejected.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of people are scared of sales. So if you can fall in love with sales and then obviously you have something of value to sell, like that's the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
right? Because the
That's been
people are already there.
my last year. I've taken multiple sales, really putting together my signature talk because that's my next thing with my books and stuff. But that's my schooling, and then really learning how to sell. Like I was
Yeah.
like, this is my. You have to look at your gaps, and this was my gap. Now, what do I do with that sales? Well, that's where I'm hiring you. But
Yeah.
that's an intention, and
Um,
I'm
yeah, but I would,
obviously saying it very loud. I've said it to you already. Like we all know what's happening. I'm moving to Florida too, so that's happening too. Lots of stuff, right? I'm
I
like, well,
love
I
it.
need this for this to happen. I need this
Can't
for
wait
this to happen. It's
can't
like,
wait
huh.
for that. Yeah.
Um, but but when we look at it, okay, so don't be afraid to sell, right?
Mhm.
And for me, it took a number of years. I mean, Amazing You has been around for many, many years now, so since 2009 or 2008. But it took a number of years and a number of clients for me to really trust. And I know, like, especially when I started teaching yoga, like, I just felt like I didn't know how to teach yoga, right? Like, you just have that. So when you're just starting out and you're just beginning and you're having that insecurity, and I think it's healthy, right, at the beginning, if you don't know, and say that you are your package. We're just going to make it super nuts and bolts, right? Like 5 sessions with me is my package.
Yep.
Um, and you're in that state and you're trying to sell. And I hear sometimes, well, you're always offering something, right? You just need to give out of the heart, like you're always offering something. I'm like, but I have all these programs, I have all these things. Like, if you want to make the next step, here it is. But where is, what am I even asking? I'm going totally off script here because I'm fine. Like, who I'm thinking about is like, but I'm not confident yet in
Mm.
my ability to coach. I'm not confident yet in my program because I just created it, or I'm creating a
So,
program as I go, right?
yeah.
Like, and I know that you work with a lot of people and you even teach a bit, like, well, create a program, like come up with like have the inspiration, the idea and everything, and then create a program and get people in the program to pay for the program as you're doing the program. Because
Yeah.
I was in your challenge and I was like, yes, I agree with her, right? I want her on my side because I agree with her. And so I mean, that's a smart way to do it. So a lot of people
Yeah.
are in that. What's your biggest advice for that person?
So I
That
would say this, like when you're first starting, if we go back to what you were saying, the package is you. Like I think everybody needs to start there. Like it's
Okay.
the easiest place to start. It's the easiest way to get money. I think people get off track and they're like, "Ooh, I can sell a $27 thing and, make $10,000 a month." And it's like, "Wait a minute. If you are selling a $27 thing versus let's say even $1,000 coaching package, right? How many people do
Mhm.
you need to sell to that $27 thing in order to reach 10K? A
Yeah.
lot. I'm not going to do the math here right now, but
Yeah.
a lot. And not only that, but then you have to do that every month. Whereas
Yeah.
you can get in front of and this is what like I started
I
kind
think
of
it's 350 if I remember correctly from my
veering
whole
on this path.
experiment
Oh.
with it.
Veering on this path of like a boutique coaching business, right? Where it's small, it's intimate. Even my group programs are
Mhm.
like 7 to 10 to 12 people, you know what I mean? So it's not like I think that there is this allure of like, oh, I can just get thousands of people into like my small ticket thing, right? And then we get, ooh, that sounds like passive income. Sounds like I don't have to do anything, right? And we just get like jaded on that, right? But the
Mhm.
reality is if you're in that starting position, I would say first, 1 to 2 years, you're going to want to just make as many connections as possible, be more
Yeah.
intimate, one-on-one clients. The package is you. Then once you've coached enough clients that you're like, I'm kind of having the same conversations with my clients, every client, or the clients are asking me the same questions over and over, right? That's when
Yep.
your formula or your pathway, like kind of, it develops pretty much on its own by you doing the craft.
Yeah.
So, you know,
So your message actually comes out of that. See,
yeah.
God did mine like backwards. My business happened like this, and then all of a sudden I was here with all of this stuff, and now I'm going, that is a mine full of gold, and how did I get here? Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting
Well,
on an
it's
empire.
like that. It's like that sometimes. But yeah, if you're just starting, like,
But if you're
start.
building it and you can build it consciously, like this is how to do it. If you're like, I want to be a coach
Yeah.
and this is what I want to do, like
Yep.
this is how to do it.
Yep.
And
And then
so,
you would develop a group program from there. Now you're like, okay, I know what my formula is. I'm going through the same things with all of my clients. Now I'm going to create a course, right? I'm going to
yeah,
create a group coaching. So then you go from doing, 10 clients at $1,000. Now you're like, oh, I have 20 students or 10 students, but it's only taking me 1 hour a week to work with these people now instead of 10
yeah,
hours. So it's kind of like a progression, like if you wanted to do it the right way, which there is
yeah,
no right way because some people are just very prolific and very smart, or they've been doing their thing for a really long time and they
yeah,
know and they like, have courses just like pouring out of them. Like some
yeah,
people are like that, right? So it's like, again, just finding like, who am I? Where does this stuff come from? Is it easy for me? What's my flow? What's the path of least resistance? And let
yeah.
me go that way. Because then once
Perfect.
you have your basis and your foundation, then you can create anything from there.
Beautiful. So I have one more question
Mhm.
before we get to how did they get into Mint for Millions. And that is for the people that are listening that have been like, I've had a practice forever. Let's talk to
Yep.
them too. I've had a
Yep.
practice forever. I am stuck at 10K. I'm stuck at 20K. I'm stuck at 50K a month. I I don't know how to. What's their big? Let's not forget them. Like let's not forget myself.
Yeah. So no, so it's
What's
what I
their
was,
big
it's actually what I was just saying, which is
breakthrough?
like if you're already like, your stuff, right? So then your next step is going to be to create that course because you already know it. You already have the confidence, whether it's a different kind of confidence because your clients are in person versus online. But,
Hmm.
you already have the experience, the expertise, you know what the heck you're doing. The crazy part is that 95% of people online selling stuff right now have no idea what they're doing, right? Which is goes back to what I was saying. The types of people that I like to work with are kind of like those hidden gems, the people that are like, they know their stuff, they're excellent
Hmm.
at what they do. They care about their clients. They want to make a really make an impact and not just like, hey, I just want to go, buy a G-Wagon and a Chanel bag. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like the mission is different, right?
Yeah.
So with that experience, create a course or not
I
even a
still
course,
want the G wagon.
a group coaching. So I'm really big on the group coaching, which is different than a course. So
Yeah.
I would say a course is like you're putting all of your, intellectual property or information. Here's the formula. Here's how to do it. And people will go through it step by step. Whereas group coaching is kind of a little bit like this, right? We have like a handful of people, 5, 10, 15, 20 people, and you're actually getting coaching from me, right? I'm
Yeah.
not putting you in a box and saying, okay, this is module 1, this is module 2, let's do this. So that's kind of the distinction. So from,
Okay.
being like that OG therapist, like you've been doing it forever, like create a course. You already have the expertise, you already have the experience, you probably know more than 99% of people out there selling stuff. So like create a course and then now the job is to get in front of more people, which is the
Yeah.
other thing that a lot of people completely forget when they're building their business is, oh, I also have to build the audience of people who are going to buy from me.
Yeah. And there's also tons of strategy to do that. So that's a whole different conversation for another day, but that's another big step of learning how to do that. And so, Jenna, how can people start learning this and step into the strategy of making money and making their dreams help them live their best lives?
Yeah, I
Because
mean, I
that's
think the
really
first,
money's the exchange, guys. We pretend like we don't need it. We pretend like we don't want it. But at the end of the day, if you can do what your heart calls you to do, and this is just like a thing, if you can do what your heart calls you to do, your soul calls you to do, and make money at it without shame, without guilt, with a yes, you're going to be able to just have so much more fulfillment in your life. And so often when it comes to healing and helping, we're like, oh, well, we just want to give it away. Or it's like we have this weird mindset thing and we don't need to learn about marketing. We don't need to learn about this or whatever. And that's just not how the world works. And it would waste so much time for you to be at your 9 to 5 forever and ever and working your heart calling. You don't want to do that. You want to get fully into your heart calling, which means you need people like Jenna that this is their heart calling to 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 guide you and be with you and say, oh, do you see that, do you see that? You need coaches. If you're in the place of healing, you need a coach to help you heal. You need a therapist if you need that place. Whatever you need, this is it. So if you're in the place where you're like, I need to take my hobby and turn it into a business, and I need strategy behind me that, or I need to go from living paycheck to paycheck to hiring 6 people, and or having a corporation where you're taking care of more people than just yourself. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, I'm at this place where I'm like, I want to take care of multiple families. Right?
Yeah.
And that
No,
takes
that's awesome.
multiple money.
But that drives you. Like, and I think that that's an important piece of it, when you ask like, okay, how do I just, it's a decision. Like, and I remember my coach used to say this to me all the time, like, you just have to decide. And I'm like, yes, but how? Like, how do I just decide? Right. But it's like, you do have to make a decision. And for me, it's an identity shift. It really
Mm-hmm.
is like you go from, like you said, I go from that 9 to 5er, right? Single mom, 9 to 5, struggling, to an identity of someone who's making an impact on the world, having the time of her life, fulfilling, all the bills are paid. Like that's two completely different people.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
So
For
this is
sure. It
why
was an identity shift.
the
Yep.
mindset is so important here. Like it really is. That
Mm-hmm.
is the first hurdle for everybody because, like I said, the strategy's everywhere. So
Yep.
it's like there is like nobody can work on your own mindset for you.
Yeah.
Nobody can shift your identity for you. You have to make that conscious decision of like, okay, I'm deciding that, X, Y, or Z is no longer available for me, right? Or I'm no longer tolerating a, B, or C, right? Or,
Mm-hmm.
really making decisions, having conversations, getting yourself out of limbo and making a commitment really to yourself, not only to yourself, but to the people that you're meant to serve. That was one
Mm-hmm.
of the things for me is like, I was so in this thing, like you were saying earlier, like with the hobby, right? For about a year and a half. And I was just like, I was definitely looking back. Now I'm like, oh yeah, no, I was really playing small. Like I was not
Yeah.
asking for the sale. I wasn't visible. Like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do in order to get the results that I thought I wanted. And I remember having a conversation with my girlfriend and she's like, who really inspires you? And this was like way back when. And I was like, oh, Tony Robbins. And she's like, okay, now imagine if Tony Robbins like allowed his ego to get in the way of the work that he does.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me was like a switch for me because it was like, oh, this isn't just about me. This is about the people that I'm here to help. This is about my
Yeah.
mission and my vision on this planet. So it's almost like I was saying earlier, like it has to drive you, like whatever that thing is that you desire, want, even if it is money. Like I have no shame in the game to say, yeah, I want money, right? Or I want to be a millionaire or whatever. Like then that is your vision, right? That's the thing that's going to drive you because it's so easy for us to fall back to our old ways. It's so easy
Mm-hmm.
for us to just stay what's comfortable, not take the risk, do the bare minimum. It's very easy for us to do that. It's also very easy for us to break promises to ourselves. So when
Yeah.
we make like a public declaration, right? Or like, this is my mission, this is my vision, this is my decision, this is what I'm going to do from now on, you're going to be less likely to want to let other people down, which is just kind of the
Yeah.
nature of even just being a woman.
Yeah. Which is beautiful, which brings me back to having that structure, that security. So if you need to make money, you have something in place that works for you and can go out and do that to continuously grow, right? So you have some sense of this is how you do it. This is how you make money. And I think for many coaches that isn't it. And coaching, you guys, is $1 billion business now. It's $1 billion industry and growing. It's huge, and different coaches for different things. I've trained people through the Amazing You system that went on to coach in corporate, right? And do that. I've trained a midwife and doula in the system that went and did that. Somebody who opened and uses it in real estate sales. It's super funny. Like she's like, I needed this real estate, and I was like, really? But at the end of it, they figured out who they were because that's the whole point, right? And they're like, oh, well, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to make this business, and that's not always what we want. Okay, so how did they get a hold of you?
Oh, okay. So on my Instagram, I hang out on Instagram at Meant for Millions. If you want to see what kind of programs, offers that I have, kind of have something for everybody there, beginner, seasoned, jennafaith.com or jenscalia.com. Unfortunately, my Facebook went down. That was a whole fiasco. So here's a tip. Don't rely solely on social media. So
Yeah,
make sure you are building your email list and, kind of building your stuff outside of social media. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot going on my Facebook now because of that. But yeah, I would say those are the two best places, my website, and you can email me from my website and my Instagram at Meant for Millions.
perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're so
I just think
welcome.
you're amazing,
Oh, thank
and
you.
I want to know how you got back home. So tell me
Oh,
on Facebook or tell me
yeah,
on Semester or
I
text
will.
me because I'm like, how did that happen? That's just my own curiosity. So, um, yeah, I'm watching you. I'm still here. I'm finishing up my thing.
Awesome. Well, good luck. This is awesome that you put this together. I love it. And hopefully the people that joined and are listening after the fact are going to get a lot out of this. I'm sure they
They
will.
will. They
Yeah.
will. And I appreciate it. So we're going to go off of YouTube. YouTube, thank you so much for being here. These are going to be up for 72 hours. And then you're going to have to join the summit. The links are all around here. I wish it was a nice short little link for you to join, but they're all around here. They'll be on each summit page as well. So they'll be right below here. If you're listening to the replay, go ahead and click that, and you'll be able to get them after they're taken down even. And then if you join the VIP, you'll get the replays forever, not only the drip content, because I'm going to share it with the people that signed up for the list. As Jenna, I decided, since we haven't had that big of a turnout, it is a holiday weekend, whatever,
Mhm.
I'm going to share them with the people that sign out for it. I'm doing a drip content each of the
Oh,
interviews out because they've been
perfect.
incredible. They've been
Perfect.
incredible. And I want everyone that signed up to be able to listen to it. And then after I put that out, we're going to just, and it will be for everybody. If you join, you're going to get our 3-day summit or retreat for rediscovering me. So you'll go into that authenticity, figure out your purpose and relationships, and that begins that kind of know who you are segment, even if you're going into that. That is April 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or 5th, 6th, and 7th. I don't know. It's the first weekend in April, you guys. And it's going to be incredible. You do not want to miss it. It's super powerful, and it's my Tony Robbins event. Truly.
Yay. Awesome. Love it.
Oh, so you'll get that ticket for free. If you don't get it through this summit, if you don't join the VIP and you still want to join, you absolutely can. It is $222 and absolutely worth it. And I don't mind receiving more money because that just helps me reach more people. Anyway,
Mhm.
it all
Exactly.
recycles in the bin. So Jenna, thank you so much. And reach out to her, Meant for Millions or jennafaith.com.